Today is going to be a more serious topic. I will talk to you about how I started keto and my journey through keto and why I really started this channel, because I really want to help other people. So there's going to be a lot of background. February 23rd, 2013. I will remember that day forever. That was the day my husband came home and said, I think I need to go to the emergency room. We found out after a few hours that he had had a heart attack. He was 42 years old, and he had a heart attack. 5 days later, on February 28th, he had triple bypass. Now, I was scared to death. He was 42 years old. He was very young to have a heart attack. My children at the time were 14, 11, and 7. So this was very stressing, very, very stressing. He went into the hospital with no meds. He came out taking 5 medications, including insulin. Now, he had been diabetic for, I don't know, probably about 15 years at that point. And so he knew that he needed to be watching things. He was not very responsible about watching things. His sugar levels were never in control, and so more than likely that is what caused the heart attack, that and exhaustion and not paying attention to other things. He was still able to work. He went back to work a few months later with no problem. In January of 2016, I begged him not to go to where he needed to go for work. He was to travel from Tucson, Arizona, and he was going to go to Denver, and then he was going to go to Miami. So how it happened was he went to Denver. When he got to Denver, when he had his layover in Denver, he felt very strange, and he doesn't really remember anything, but they tell him that they had to do the paddles on him. He had another heart attack. So he was in Denver airport. They transported him to the hospital there in Denver, and they gave him 2 stents. So he had the triple bypass 3 years earlier. Then he had the stents. So at this point, it was one of those things that you're not going to be working. So thankfully, about 6 months earlier, probably about 6 months earlier, I had started working at home full time. And I'm so happy that I did, because I was able to be a caregiver for him, and I was also able to work and take care of my kids, and so it worked out really well. I've got a lot here. By April of that year, 2016, his kidneys had shut down. So because of that, he had to go on hemodialysis. Now, hemodialysis is when they put it port in your arm. and they drain the blood out and put it into a machine, and then they clean the blood, and then they put the blood back into you. Well, when he had his first heart attack, he was working at a funeral home doing embalming. So that was basically the same kind of machine that he used when he embalmed people. So I think it was like a psychological thing that was going on because it made him physically sick. So 3 to 4 times a week, he was just vomiting nonstop the whole time that he was there. So it was not, certainly dialysis is never a pleasant experience, don't get me wrong there. But this particular one, it was just too hard for him to do this kind of dialysis. So in November, he went from doing the hemodialysis to the peritoneal dialysis. And in the meantime, with all of this other things going on with him vomiting and everything, when they put the port, I don't know, the port's down here, but I don't know what they call it up here, a fistula. No, I got it, I remembered. That when they put the fistula in his arm, it had some kind of reaction. It was foreign, I don't know what it was, but he lost his dexterity in his left hand, and he was unable to move his left hand. So when it came time for us to do the peritoneal dialysis, I was the one that was doing the dialysis for him. I'd hook him up and take him off, and hook him up and take him off, and all that kind of stuff. So again, I was very happy that I was able to do that because of my job. Again, this is a lot of backstory. I will get to my journey. So I was mom, I was wife, I was caregiver, I was everything to everybody else. And my weight, my health, everything else just kind of took a back burner kind of thing. And I think a lot of women especially do this because everybody's relying on us. So I was very unwell. I couldn't walk around where, even a year prior, I was walking like 4 or 5 miles a week. So I wasn't able to walk very much. I wasn't able to get around very much. I was gaining more and more weight. And Randall looked at me one day and said, "You need to take care of yourself because I'm not going to be here much longer. And you need to take care of our family. And I need you well. And they need you well." So I went ahead and got the doctor's appointment. On the doctor's appointment, I found out that I was pre-diabetic. My blood pressure was high. They put me on blood pressure medicine and told me that I should just modify my lifestyle to combat the pre-diabetic. I wasn't put on any kind of medication or anything for that. So I took the medicine. I tried to eat better. Still wasn't really where I needed to be. And January of 2018, I decided that I was going to listen to different kinds of health videos. And I would do that right before I went to bed. I was in that analysis paralysis situation with keto. I listened and I learned and I tried to understand everything that I needed to do. But one thing that I really am glad that I took that long time to do the research is because first I stopped the soda, then I stopped eating much bread, and then it just kind of gradually went down and down and down until I really felt my first keto day, and I was bound and determined to start keto on July 2nd of 2018. So July 2nd, 2018, I was 186 pounds, or 86.6 pounds. I did the tenths of a pound. And I was going to start recording everything. So I started weighing myself every day. I went down a little at a time. By January, excuse me, by August 31st, I was down about 10 pounds. And my husband noticed that I was feeling better. I was still eating really good food. And basically what I was doing was making everybody the same kind of food I was eating. And Randall saw that I was sticking with it, and I was, able to lose weight. So he said, maybe I should try this. And because he was diabetic, I checked his sugars all the time. So there was no way that I was not going to be aware when he was low or anything like that. So I wasn't concerned about it. So I thought, you know what? I'll go ahead and try it. So as we did it, it worked. It started, his sugars were going down. But when you do dialysis, you are checked every month with blood. And that is one of the things that's a little tricky because, your blood... your blood kind of goes kind of wacky when you first go on keto anyway. And they always tell you, wait a few months before you do anything. But couldn't do it. So because of that, the doctor's like, no, your sugars are good, but your cholesterol's up, and his creatines, which is a thing for dialysis for kidneys. So everything else was kind of out of whack. So they told him not to do it anymore. So he stopped doing it. And I continued to make my food. And I would, just give them the rice or potatoes or whatever. By September 30th, I was down to 168 pounds. I was down 18 pounds. August, I keep saying August. August is a good month. September 30th, I was down to 168 pounds. And I had lost 18 pounds from that point. On October 1st, Randall died of his last and final heart attack. Since then, I've been able to lose more weight. I'm down to 158.8. I still have more to lose, but I'm feeling pretty good. I don't have anxiety. My A1C is at a normal range. I have more energy. My mood is so much calmer. I can't tell you how calm I am when things go haywire in the, just life in general kind of goes haywire. It's okay. I know I can handle it. My blood pressure is down to normal. I'm not as tired all the time as I used to be. My kids are not completely keto, but they They do okay. They're more low carb. And I'm okay with that. But the reason I really started this channel is because I wanted to make sure that I needed to share my story so that I don't want anybody else to have to go through what my husband went through. There was no reason for him to go through this. And had I have known, every day I think about if I would have known about this 10 years ago, if I had known about this 5 years ago, if I'd have known about it the day after he had his heart attack or the day before he had his heart attack, we could have changed our entire life. And I just wish that I could turn back the time, but I can't. And because I can't, I want to help other people. You don't have to be obese. You don't have to be a diabetic. You don't have to have high blood pressure. Your mood does not have to be, you don't have to be angry all the time. I cannot say enough about the keto diet. The keto diet saved my life, and I wish that it would have saved my husband's life. So I wear this top today because it is sleeveless, and it shows my husband's name, Randall, and he loved elephants, and it spells his name. It's very unusual. I had to have it designed because that's not a normal, and I'm not a normal person, but that's not a normal tattoo. But I just wanted to share with you so you know who I am and why I'm here. And if you have any stories that you'd like to share, I'd like to hear them too. Thank you.